Hello, believers, non believers, and everyone in between. You're listening to Stories with Sapphire. I am Sapphire Sandalo. Now get cozy and open your mind because it's story time.
Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. It has been so long. Doesn't it feel like it's been so long? It's only been 2 weeks. Um, Welcome to Stories with Sapphire Live. I'm Sapphire Sandalo, and this is the live stream that I do every Wednesday. I read your emails and your stories because I get so many, and not all of them will make it to a podcast or a YouTube episode. I had to skip the last 2 weeks because I was moving into my new house. And also last week I was in the UK filming something really cool that I think will be up in June, I think. I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, so yeah, I'm actually in a closet that I refurbished and I added some padding, I added a thing, I added the lights again, just like in my old booth that I sold to someone, so you'll never see that again. But yes, lots of changes for me, lots of good changes, exciting changes. I feel like the last 2 months has been me in the tower card. I've been calling it my tower card phase. If you are a tarot reader, then you would know. But the tower is a card of chaos and change. But after the tower comes, I almost said comes great responsibility. That's not right. After the tower comes the star, which is full of hope and optimism. And I feel like I'm inching towards the star card. So things are hopefully settling down a little bit. I'm so happy all of you are here with me now. um, just like always, or if this is your first time joining me on a live, welcome. At the end of every stream, if I remember, sometimes I forget, y'all. I will pull us a card for a collective reading from my favorite deck called the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. So make sure you stick around for that. All right. So, sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat here. I pulled a couple stories for us because I've been MIA for so long. I figured I might go a little longer, might interact with chat a little bit longer, hopefully. All right. So, you should collab with G4 again. I mean, hey, if they'll have me, I'd love to go on. That was a really fun time. And yeah, Cassim was really cool. I actually didn't know who he was before. I'm not much of a consumer of the internet, guys. I don't know if I've said that before. So I feel like I don't really know things. Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like Ron Swanson, where I just don't know anything about most pop culture. um, all right. River Bestie, how are you, Sapphire? I am great. Now, the last month or two have been absolute chaos. Moving is the worst. This is the first time we have hired movers, and wow, if you can afford it, do it because they do all the things for you, and it's amazing. I was like, why have I been moving my stuff on my own like a dang chump my entire life? Anyways, trying to see if I got any spooky updates for all of you. I think my house is haunted, but like in a cool way, not in a creepy way, at least not yet. There was a moment where I was meditating and I felt footsteps walking around me. Felt as in, you can feel the floor moving. And also I had my my spiritual life coach on video call with me. My camera was off and she could hear footsteps. And after I finished my meditation, because I thought that maybe my husband had come home, husband was not home. Dogs were still locked up in the other room. So, I don't know. Why did I leave Snarled? Okay, I'm answering that because there's multiple people asking. There is a video on my channel called Life After Something Scary. Go watch that. It will explain. Cool. All right, ready for your first story? Actually, I think I do have another spooky update, but I will give it to you after the first story. All right, so this one's called Imaginary Friend, Guardian Angel, or Something Else. All right. Hello, Sapphire. I have been watching, or should I say listening, to your podcast since Snarled and was sad when you left. So I can't tell you how excited I was when I came across your new podcast. Proud of you, by the way. Thank you. The stories you've shared have helped me gain the confidence to share my first encounter with the other side. Here it is. I hope you enjoy it. Growing up, I was a very imaginative child, which meant that I always was living in my own world. And sometimes I would want to share my adventures with the people in my life. Oh, God, sorry. Every time I wear glasses, it bonks against this. Though I felt at times that no one cared whenever I did. My mom and dad were always busy or too exhausted to entertain it. And me, being the baby of the family for a while, the youngest cousin I had that was close to me in age was 9 years older than me and wasn't really patient with my fairy tales. The only person who showed interest in what I had to say was my friend Dave. I met Dave one night when I woke up from one of my many night terrors, and he was just standing beside the bed. I wasn't sure why, but I was more calm when I first saw him. Dave would tell me that he was my special friend and that he was my #1 fan of my stories. I could tell that Dave was not my age, though. He was a giant compared to my small stature, and his voice kind of reminded me of James Earl Jones, the man who voiced Mufasa in The Lion King. When I tried to tell my parents or my aunt, they weren't concerned at first and just thought that I had made a new imaginary friend since I was around that age and, like I said, very imaginative. I began to spend more time with Dave. He would always watch my favorite movies on repeat and never complained about it. He would stay with me at night to keep the monsters away, and he always seemed to be invested in my stories, interacting with me by giving different reactions. Smiled whenever the main character won whatever battle my 5-year-old brain could come up with, shocked when I threw in an obvious oncoming plot twist, and sad when the story got worse for the hero. He always allowed me to talk his ear off about the most random things and would never push me away with, "Sorry, honey, but I have work to finish," or with, "In just a minute," knowing it'll be longer. About a year later, my habits still continued, not really talking to anyone aside from Dave, who around that time I found out that no one else could see but me. My dad explained to my mother that maybe I was just emotionally attached to my friend and that when I started school full time, that would all change. My mother, being the more spiritual one of my parents, felt that my tie to Dave was deeper than what was coming off. One day, my mother had finally asked me for my friend's name, realizing that I never told anyone else's name. He was sitting beside me, and I decided to introduce the two. Granted to my mother, all she saw was nothing. She still waved at the area I pointed to when I introduced her. But when I told her Dave's name, she froze. She turned to face me, eyes widened slightly, and asked me to repeat the name. When I did, her demeanor still hadn't changed. She just sat in front of me, passing her gaze between me and the area where Dave was sitting. After a few minutes, my mother got up and left my bedroom, closing the door behind her. I was scared that I was in trouble, though I was reassured by Dave, just smiling, that I wasn't. Later on, my mother came back into my room and sat slowly next to me. There were a few more questions she had, such as, what did he look like? What was he wearing? Did he smell like anything? What did he sound like? I gave my best attempt to describe Dave. I remember Dave was always dressed nicely as if he were going to work every day like my dad. The difference was his suit was a dark blue and he always wore a hat and a red tie. I noticed that as I'm describing Dave to my mother, tears began to fill her eyes. Now, remind you, I'm only 6 at this point, so seeing my mother crying scared me and would make me want to cry as well. My mother gently pushed me to continue, but left immediately when I tried to describe his laughter, a sound that I still hear distantly even at 22. I wasn't sure why my mother was crying and kept apologizing for hurting her feelings, all that was met by her pulling me into a tight hug. As you can probably tell, my 6-year-old brain was confused. It was later that I realized my imaginary friend, Dave, was the name of my maternal grandfather, who passed away 2 years before I was born. Also, what I had described him wearing was what he was wearing at his funeral, something I wouldn't have any idea of. My mother was convinced that Dave, or I guess Papa, was looking over me, especially since he didn't get the chance to meet me in life. This was the first of many encounters I would have with the other side. I always experienced my grandfather's presence in my time of need, such as when my parents divorced or when there was life-altering decisions that needed to be made. He would make himself known by having me smell Old Spice or cinnamon, two fragrances he was known to wear frequently. Sometimes I would even hear his laughter, just as a gentle reminder that no matter how hard life can get, I was never alone. Whoa. Okay. Sorry, wait. I always have to mark these as read. So, like I usually tell everyone at the beginning of these streams, I do not read these ahead of time. I sort of just look through my emails and mark them, and then I read them just for the first time on the stream. I got major chills reading that one. Wow. Oh crap, I didn't read who that was from. That was really beautiful. Those are probably one of my favorite types of stories, the ones about because something like this, there is proof. Like this kid never met this person, but was able to describe someone that they did not know, describe what they wore on a day that they didn't attend. And it's confirmed by somebody who knew. So to me, it's like, how else do you, like, it's real. You know what I mean? Those are my favorite. Anyways. Yeah, cool. Has that ever happened to anyone here in the chat? Actually, that did vaguely remind me of a dream I had recently. So when I was sleeping on the couch in my new house, maybe a week ago, I had this very vivid dream that, like, and here's the thing. I have dreams like this all the time where it doesn't feel like I'm dreaming. It feels like I am just experiencing life from that point of view. So my dream took place. I'm laying on the couch and I see a man standing right next to me. He's standing very close to me, so I can't see his face, but he's sort of wearing this very vintage 50s, 60s kind of green sweater vest, maybe green pants or khaki pants. I'm not entirely sure. But I just remember him standing very close to me. It was almost like he was standing there and looking at me and being like, "Who are you?" And then I opened my eyes and my dog Norman was sitting there. He was just staring right at me. And I was like, "Oh my God, can my dog Norman see this?" All right. That was a great start. All right. Ooh, here's a cool one. So this one's called I Think I'm Psychic? ? Let's see if you are. Hi, my name is Clara, and I think I should start from the beginning. I have always been a spiritually open person, trying to talk to ghosts in 3rd grade and making a pendulum out of trinkets around my house. I've also had vivid and meaningful dreams. A lot of them are gibberish nonsense, but I will have the occasional dream that will make me reconsider my look on reality. I should start at when my dad's ex-girlfriend at the time passed away when I was 12. I know dad's ex-girlfriend sounds like she wasn't close to me, but she was an amazing woman. She always had the fluffiest blankets and the best food, as well as her daughters being like my sisters and her being like a second mom. but she had some issues. I don't want to get into it, as still it makes me really upset, but she passed away from heroin use. The last time I saw her was a month after she left my dad. I had no idea at the time that she was doing drugs. We went to a Vietnamese restaurant because pho is my dad's favorite food. As soon as she stepped out of the car, I knew something was wrong. She was slim and shaky, but there was something else. Image of a dark cloud of depression and tragedy swirling around someone you love. Oh, imagine a dark cloud of depression and tragedy swirling around someone you love. I didn't see anything, but I could feel it, like a demon on her shoulder. After a long, awkward dinner, she hugged my brother and turned to hug me, but I ran to the car, trying so hard not to cry. I knew in my heart I wouldn't see her again, but I was too scared. It's like she was already dead. This happened with my grandpa on my dad's side as well, and then again a few months later with my grandma. I can predict death, and it's really scary. On a lighter note, I'm good at predicting things. When people say to pick a number between certain numbers, I almost always get it right. It really helps for tests I didn't study for. One time I knew absolutely nothing about the contents in the test, but I got 100%. I also can envision things even if I've never seen them. I called my mom a few weeks ago because I randomly got a picture or concept in my head. I said, Great-Grandma Clara's house was yellow and pink, right? My mom said, yeah, yellow walls with pink accents and roses. How did you know? I don't know, just thought of it. I've never been to or seen her house. She died before I was born. I was named after her because she was the kindest woman my mom's ever met. I have a complicated relationship with the supernatural, and I think I'm too scared to fully open up to it because it will be more than I can handle. Any tips would be great. Whoa, okay. Love this email. I love when people send me stuff like this. Okay, Clara, hi. So, yes, you are psychic. But everyone is psychic. Everyone in this chat is psychic. The thing about psychic abilities is that when people hear the word psychic or medium, the first thing that tends to come to mind is the Hollywood version of that, which is like all of a sudden you touch something and you get overwhelmed and you see this vision in your head, right? That's incredibly rare, and that's also not really how it tends to happen. That's not really how people get visions. It's not this whole dramatic, sensationalized thing. So get rid of that idea. That's not what a psychic is. Psychic abilities, all it means is that you are very tapped into your intuition. Everybody has intuition. People have different relationships with their intuition. And being a psychic just means that you are so tapped into your intuition. You are tapped into the collective consciousness of the world. Okay? That's all that it is. And it is a skill just like any other skill. Some people are born at a higher ability. There's natural born talent, I guess. But what really takes you far is how you work on it. And I swear to God, being a psychic is a skill that you can develop because I've been developing it for the last year or so. And things are happening. So yes, Claire, you are psychic. Everyone in this chat is psychic. And if it is something that you are interested in developing and honing, you absolutely can. And there are resources. And I don't know, DM me on Instagram or email me, or I'll respond to your email and I'll give you some resources. Where was I going with this? I encourage everybody to work on their abilities. It's not something that... It's not like you're going to be working with the cops solving crimes, okay? Tapping into your intuition, all that means is that you become more confident. I am such an anxious person, and I overthink everything. So for me, tapping into my intuition is my way of learning how to listen, learning how to sit in the stillness and the quiet instead of having my mind racing. So that's been helping me with that. It is also helping me with my tarot readings. If I am able to connect intuitively, empathically with the person that I am reading, then I will be able to give them a much better reading. You know? Anyways, yes, you are psychic. Wow, have we really only read two? Okay. Right, we got another story. Let's see. Let's do this one's okay. Along with the theme, this one's called Inhibitions and Premonitions. Hi, Sapphire. My name is Deshari, and I love your show and your work ever since Snarled. I would like to share my experiences and hope to get some advice or feedback for my condition. So, ever since your Premonitions episode, I realized I have been having very similar experiences since my early childhood days. They're almost like memories that come to me every night, and when the experience happens, I get this strange feeling of deja vu. Yes, that happens to me too. Something that happened to me as recently as last week, that is. I had this dream of walking along a narrow road beside a person with this peculiar red umbrella while the sky was a dark shade of gray. Something very common where I live are unexpected showers during the day, and it's common to carry umbrellas around, but this red umbrella seemed so weird. Anyway, I woke up and my day went normally. No such umbrella in sight, so I brushed it off as an odd dream. Over the weekend, I had plans to go to the mall to get some stuff, but the weather forecast that day said light showers, completely forgetting about my dream. I went out without an umbrella to the mall, and strangely enough, it started raining. Frustrated at myself for being so forgetful and trying to find the location of my cab, I started walking in the direction of where my cab said was located on my phone, not realizing I was walking along with this lady with that very same red umbrella. I swear, this isn't the first time this has happened, and every time it happens, I get this sense of strong deja vu. Memories, maybe. But whatever it is, I hope that you find my condition interesting or maybe even have some advice for me. Love from a very old fan and follower of yours. I love these emails. I want to be responsible for this generation being filled with psychics. Okay. So I have come to learn that one of the ways that my intuition is trying to get my attention is deja vu. When I was filming Ghost Town Terror, all 6 episodes streaming now on Discovery Plus, I had deja vu almost every day. And I sort of chalked it up to me being stressed, me having a lack of sleep. Like I was not getting good sleep when I was there because I was scared in my hotel room because I would hear sounds all the time. And that deja vu, I think, can be a sign of your brain sort of like glitching out. But I also think that, well, I asked Sarah Lemos, the medium, every time I brought up deja vu, she would be like, that means you need to pay attention. Deja vu is still something that is not necessarily scientifically nailed down. Like there's still a bunch of theories. We're not entirely sure why it happens, when it happens, but there's a lot of different theories. One is that when you are in a state of heightened awareness, it's almost like your brain it feels like you've seen what you've seen, but you actually aren't. I don't know. I'm not explaining that well. But I did have deja vu when I went to England last week, when I went to Bath Abbey. And I was there at the front of the church, and I just sort of felt like I've definitely been here before. And so it was the first time that I followed through on that feeling. I decided to sit down, and I sat down in a chair and asked if there was anything that wanted to talk to me. Then I got this very vivid image that I will not share. Okay, what is happening in this chat? We're gonna go ahead and Sorry. I need a moderator, y'all. Okay. What time is it? 5:54. All right. Here's a very short one. Okay. This one does not have a name, but we're going to go with it. All right. When I was about 4 years old, my dad died of cancer. I'm not sure which type of cancer, but I know he died because of it. One day when I was 9 years old, I was in the basement and I could have sworn that I saw my dad, but it later turns out to be someone else. I told all my family that I saw my dad in the basement, but they never believed me. When I was 10, my dad appeared again, but this time he was in my room. He told me that I should have never told anybody because I would get punished by the devil. That's when I realized that this was not my father, because he soon shifted into someone that I love dearly to something evil. He looked like some sort of blue giant with sharp black claws and sharp teeth with bloodstains on them. I ran out of the room crying and screaming. About a month later, I told my parents about it, so they called a priest to get rid of that negative energy. I never saw that blue man again. Ooh. Why are you seeing blue men? Is it bad that the first thing I thought of was Avatar? Oh, that's creepy. Have I heard of that? Well, I guess I have. In one of the episodes of my podcast, there was someone who had a very lucid dream and then saw this kind of like blue baby at the foot of their bed. Yeah, it's pretty weird. Sorry, I'm very distracted by this chat. Okay. Has anyone in chat seen a blue baby? Blue baby. A blue creature thing? Okay. How are we on time? Let me see if I've got another short one. Another little shorty. And then we can do a reading. Does that sound good? Okay. This one is called The Thing. Actually, let's go like this. This is called The Things That Lurk Outside. Hello, Sapphire. My name is Adiva, and I'm here to share another story with you. The last one I shared was about making deals with the devil and how that resulted in my friend Brian losing his life. I hope you enjoy this story. My grandfather had built a house for him and my grandmother before he passed away. To give you an idea, when you walk in through the main door, there is a long balcony, which then leads you to the rest of the house. There are chairs in the balcony, and it's overall well decorated. Me and my family used to visit my grandmother at least twice a year, and we would stay there for a month every time. My cousins lived close to my grandmother, so whenever we visited, they would also come over. It would be like a family reunion. On one of those days visiting, me and my cousin, let's call him Alex, were playing on the balcony while our grandmother was out to run some errands. Something suddenly caught our eye outside. When we looked, we saw a woman. Not a creepy or questionable woman, but a very beautiful one. But there was something about her. She was glowing, like literally. You could see light surrounding her. She kept staring at us. Then she started saying something, but we couldn't hear her. She wasn't too far from the house, so we should be able to hear her if she spoke up, but we couldn't. Alex wanted to go down and see what she wanted, so that's what we did. Downstairs, there was a big gate that you have to open in order to leave the building. Alex motioned the woman to come closer with his hand still inside the gate. Uh-oh. Sorry, my headphones, come on. My headphones went out. Hang on. Is it just my headphones? Or is it? There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Downstairs, there was a big gate that you have to open in order to leave the building. Alex motioned the woman to come closer with his hand, still inside the gate, and we watched as she approached us. The woman came closer and got down on her knees so she was exactly in front of our face. And she started whispering once again, but we still couldn't hear her. We watched as she started to form a twisted grin on her face, and she tried to reach for Alex through the gaps of the metal gate. And just then, we saw our grandmother approach the house. The woman in front of Alex got up and ran to the side of the house and disappeared. Peculiar things started to happen after my grandfather passed away. So they blessed my grandma's house before I was born. Ever since then, nothing has been able to enter, but that doesn't mean that there still aren't things lurking out in the open. Thank you for reading my story. I have even more stories to share with you about this house, and I hope I find time to write to you again soon. Oh man, Adiva has the best stories, just FYI. Can't remember. There was I'm sure people who watched the stream every week will recognize that name. But thank you, Adiva. Man, I think my grandparents' house is also haunted. Oh, grandparents' house, why? Stanley Washington, Elliot advised me to watch your TV show, and I'm a fan. Yay! Thanks for watching Ghost Town Terror. This. Okay, cool. Oh man, my stomach keeps growling, and I don't know if you guys can hear it. So we've come to the end of the stream, which means it's time for a collective reading. I think I have, let's see, I had a number earlier. Okay, so I'm going to pick one card. Maybe this will resonate with you, maybe it won't. But each card has like a really good message regardless, so that's why I like this. I like this deck. Oh, I like her. Air Guardian. Pretty. Okay. So let me read that to you. I do not have these memorized yet. Change the way you think, and you will change your whole reality. The Air Guardian card represents the angels of the air element. Traditionally, air is all about thoughts, thinking, and everything that's happening in the mind. So these angels can help you to overcome any thoughts that have come back to haunt you from the past and to see the world more clearly. They're guiding you to change the way you think about certain situations, as this could be standing between you and greatness. When this card arises, it's an opportunity to learn about your way of thinking. You're being guided to recognize that not all you see is exactly the way you see it. Sometimes the mind can play games, and sometimes our perceptions can be wrong. If you're being challenged or feel that there's a lack of clarity and direction in your life at the moment, there's a good chance the way you're thinking or what you're focusing on has a lot to do with that reality. You're being guided to open your eyes and your mind, go beyond any limits you have set for yourself, and recognize that the way you see the world is how you will experience the world. Opportunities are moving in your direction, but they'll only open up for you if you are ready to do the internal work to support them. Oh, wow. Okay. That hit me. That resonates with me 1,000%. I hope it resonated with you guys. Yay, Air Guardian. All right, cool. All right, everyone. That has been Stories with Sapphire Live. As a reminder, the Stories with Sapphire podcast is back. Have you guys listened to the new episode yet? So that's available now wherever you listen to podcasts. And fun announcement next week. Guess what's happening? Animated stories are back. So a little disclaimer. When I did something scary, and if you knew this or not, I did everything. In the beginning, I did everything where I animated, edited, wrote, shot, wrote the music, did all of it. And as you can imagine, doing that every week can burn a person out. And so I had to come up with a new way of doing that. If I was going to do all of it, I am still doing everything on my own. now that I have my own YouTube channel, I decided that the best way for me to not burn out is to do one animated video one week, and then the next week is a podcast, and then the next week is animated, next week is a podcast. So I wanted you to know what I'm thinking. Yeah, because I know that you guys like the animated ones, and I do enjoy those a lot too. However, they take a lot out of me, and like as of right now, I cannot do them weekly. But if you guys help my channel grow and I can hire an artist to help me do the videos, then I can do them more often. Yeah, cool. So go ahead, listen to the podcast that's out next week. Look out for the animated videos. Go watch it, share it. Let's help this channel grow. I'm so close to 200,000 subscribers. So yeah. Anyways, I wanted to share that. What else did I want to share? That's it. All right. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your continued support. Peace.